In this video, I show you how to earn $1 for every single step that you take. Crack filling is an amazing way to earn extra money with your asphalt maintenance business. It has to be a part of your business. When you get to a job site, be sure to look for cracks while the homeowner or parking lot owner is still with you. You can point out any that need filling, and you can give a price right on the spot. Upselling is your gravy, and it's easy with this essential service. Explain to the homeowner that leaving cracks unfilled allows water to seep into the foundation, and that causes problems. Show them evidence of deterioration and explain about possibly having to replace pavement if cracks are left untreated. Almost everyone, 99%, will agree to have the extra work done. Begin by setting up your melter applicator so that the crack filler has time to melt while you're on and prepping the driveway. If you don't have a melter applicator, you will have to melt the crack filler in a special kettle. Now it's time to clean the driveway. Begin by blowing off all the dust and debris, then find the cracks you identified earlier. If you've ever tried to clean a crack with a regular driveway broom, you'll know that it's nowhere near as fast or as good as this professional brush. Invest into tools that get the job done faster, like the crack cleaning brush you're seeing on the screen. Time saved is money made. Once the cracks are cleared out, get your hot pour crack filler and apply steadily at a walking pace. If you don't have a melter applicator, you'll need to follow up your application with a U-shaped squeegee. That's it. Simple and profitable. Keep watching to see the machine I helped to design to address problems I had on the job myself. Today I'm showing the AK10 machine and how this robust machine is able to do a phenomenal job at melting and applying hot pour crack filler at walking speed. A lot of contractors are wanting to make $1 a linear foot so that every time they make one step, they're actually making $1. This machine can make that happen. Our AK10 is built with 12 gauge steel. It is a heavy duty unit that weighs a lot more than our competitors because of the gauge of steel. Competitors' units usually end up warping over time because their thin steel walls end up getting very hot and they start to push out on the outer areas of the melter. So as we heat this unit up to 350 to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, we're never concerned about welds cracking because we have the quality that's needed to support that kind of heat. Our AK10 has a nickel bronze bushing that's down in the wheels, right on the axles. And what that provides us with the opportunity to do is have a quality product where the wheels aren't wearing out and starting to wobble when you're working with the unit. It also is lubricated so that when you're pushing the unit, you're not hearing a squeak, squeak, squeak like competitors do. The other neat thing about this unit is that the valve, the main flow valve, has an extremely solid weld. We've actually doubled it up to make sure that it's super solid. There's never any potential leaking. This is your bread and butter. When you're out filling cracks, making $1 a linear foot, and you have a valve that starts to leak out on the asphalt, and you have to leave your job site to go to a machine shop to get it repaired, it's going to end up costing you time and money. So what we've done is we've prevented you from ever having to do that. The other thing that's very interesting about the AK10 is that on the flow valve, we've built a very heavy duty valving system that has a stopper on it. So when you actually pull on a valve rod, what it does is it stops in place and it never potentially swivels around to the other side, leaving the valve open and then having to reach down and touch something that's 300 degrees Fahrenheit. You'd burn your hands. We're finding that our competitors' units are doing that, and other units that are made cheaply in China have that issue. The AK10, you'll never have that issue. Again, your bread and butter. We want to make sure you're out doing the job exactly the way it needs to be done with zero downtime. The other amazing thing about this unit is that we have on-the-fly agitation. So you can actually agitate your material while you're pushing your unit, rather than reaching in front and agitating it right over top of the main kettle. The other thing too about our competition is that our competition will end up in a situation, or the other guys as we call it, the other guys' units, will end up where you're standing above your unit and you're having to agitate like this, and then when you go to look in your unit, guess what's happening? All those fumes of the crack filler are hitting you right smack in the face. Yeah, it's not good for you. The other amazing thing about the AK10 is the temperature gauge on top. It's a high quality temperature gauge that is built to last. There's a reset button on the back of it as well, so that if there was ever an adjustment that needed to be made on that temperature gauge, that can be done right from the unit itself. The other guy's unit
don't have a reset button, it's cheap and flimsy. We actually ended up ordering one of the other guy's units to do some comparison testing, and the unit arrived with the temperature gauge and the glass pane was completely smashed and not working. And when you flick it, it sounds like a Fisher-Price toy, like total cheap quality. There's a 3/4 inch shield right here between the propane bottle and the main kettle. That prevents the propane bottle from heating up and being significantly dangerous. You don't want to be in a situation like that, so always good to have a shield. The other guys, the propane bottle is resting up against the edge of the kettle. 300 to 400 degree sidewalls that are up against the propane bottle. Think about your safety. Think about what's important to you. That is not safe on the other guys' units. AK-10 is much more safe. The AK-10 is also designed to have a torch that has a long hose with the regulator that plugs into the propane bottle. The reason why we went with a long torch is because as you're walking around doing work, you're going to come across cracks that have vegetation that's growing out of the crack. It's one of the things about crack filling that's important. You fill the cracks, you don't have vegetation growing out. But in the case that you're on a job and you need to burn some vegetation out of those cracks, simple with the AK-10 because of our hose length. We pull out our torch and we've got significant hose length to work with. Look how long that is. Look at that. You can walk around the unit, you can burn out vegetation, and do whatever it is that you need to do around the machine. Whereas the other guy's unit, our competitors' units, their hose is roughly less than half the length of this. So you'd have to be down here burning out the vegetation. That makes not a whole lot of sense if you're wanting to do the job right. The AK-10 has been double powder coated so that your paint is going to protect your unit from serious chipping and so on. You want to make sure that your unit looks great and that you're happy with what you paid for. We don't want you getting the other guy's unit, which is just simply a thin coat of paint that's going to rust. Actually, the inside of the kettle on the other guys, when it arrived, it was all rusty inside because water had been in there after their water testing and all the welds were rusty. Our unit is actually powder coated inside as well. So we've gone above and beyond in making sure that you're getting exactly what you've paid for and at exactly the right price, shipped fast and free to your door.
Isn't that amazing? $1 for every step that you take when you're crack filling. And so easy. It's as easy as pushing a shopping cart or a lawnmower. You can do this now too. We're so excited that you have the opportunity to make a bunch of money crack filling as part of your own asphalt maintenance company.